It is so important to learn how to apologize and own up to our mistakes, even to our children, from babies to adulthood. In 2 months, Vance II will be 2 years old, and we have been owning up to our mistakes and apologizing to him for every mistake that we've made in front of him, around him, and even some that have not been around him since he was born. I remember one time my husband Vance was coming to me to reconcile with me after a heated argument that we had, and he had the baby with him at the time, and he was just apologizing to me, making things right with me. And then he also told me that he had already apologized to Vance II. It was so cute because he was like, I already apologized to him. I told him how I messed up and how that should have went and how I should have handled it. And he said that he forgives me. And I could tell in Vance's face that he was trying to like feel us out. Like, are y'all good? Are you okay? And once I also did my apologizing, we reconciled in front of him. So we kiss or we hug or we do whatever we do to let him know, let each other know that we're good, but also let him know that we're good. Once we apologized and once he realized that we were reconciled and he got his apology, I could see his whole entire demeanor change, his face change, his whole presence just changed. From the time that we were arguing, how tense he looked and confused and a little startled, and just, I did not like to see him, even as a baby, look uncomfortable or to be like, what is going on? So to see his whole demeanor shift, even as a child, that they can feel that tension between us. And so this is something that we have adapted in our home and something that we do on a regular basis when we make mistakes in front of him. And like I said, also some that are not in front of him. And he looks like he genuinely is listening and genuinely hearing us out. And of course, he may not understand everything we're saying, but I know it's planting seeds in him. My husband and I were recently talking about how we see the positive impacts in Vance II's personality as a result of us being apologetic people who are willing to own up to mistakes and to reconcile the proper way. We notice he is also quick to apologize and own up to mistakes that he makes, as in, uh-oh, and I'm sorry, mommy, or sorry, daddy, or even to the dog. He's like, sorry, Scout, when he messes up or, does something that he knows is wrong. He doesn't try to hide it. He accepts and he acknowledges it. And then he also is super compassionate, super forgiving, super understanding. He's very sincere, encouraging, and affirming. And I believe that these traits are a result of what he is seeing in us and what he's seeing us show him. Sometimes as adults, we assume that because kids are kids, they don't need or deserve apologies. We sometimes minimize their feelings and their emotions and then prioritize our own. We feel what we feel and we want to acknowledge what we feel, and we think that kids don't feel in the same way that we do. As adults, we love and appreciate a good, genuine apology when it's needed. It gives us a new level of peace and satisfaction. So children are the same way. Just because they're smaller or they're younger, or because they're our kids, because we take care of them, because we provide for them, because we do everything for them, does not take away from the fact that they are real people with real feelings, with real emotions that are just as important and real as our own. It really doesn't matter how old or how young a child is. We have to be more mindful in apologizing to children and taking their emotions and their feelings more seriously. Whether you think they understand fully what's going on or what you're saying to them, own up to your mess ups. Children are way more aware of things that have gone on, things that we've done, things that are right, things that are wrong, than what we think they are. So I have 4 benefits of apologizing to children. First one, it teaches them to take responsibility for their actions and for their mistakes. It teaches them compassion, forgiveness, and understanding, to be non-judgmental. And lastly, it teaches them to make an effort to fix what they've messed up. When we fail to apologize and own up to things that our children have seen, heard, experienced at our hand, can have negative effects on them during childhood and also into their adult life. It teaches them that it's okay to brush apologies under the rug, to halfway apologize, and to even act like they never even messed up. It can make them a person who has a hard time apologizing and who makes excuses and justifications for the wrongs that they've done. It can negatively affect our children's peace of mind, their anxiety levels, their dreams, their self-esteem, and their mental and emotional health. Children have brains that are affected by things that they see and experience and hear, just like us as adults. Another negative effect can be it could cause children to unintentionally have bitterness, ill feelings, or bad attitudes towards their parents due to the fact that you have failed to take care of their emotions and to apologize to them when necessary. This could lead to just a loss of respect for parents and strained or poor relationship with parents. And then lastly, it can cause trauma that follows them into their adult life, into their adult relationships, and into their behaviors as children, and ultimately their behaviors as adults. Recently, I brought up to my mom 2 times when I was a child that I got in trouble for something that I felt like, at the time as a kid, I felt like my parents should have apologized or handled the situation in a different way. It was not anything traumatic. It was not anything horrific, anything that has followed me into adulthood, that has scarred me or anything like that. But those feelings were real and I could still remember them to this day. I told her the whole situation of what happened. I told her the whole situation of what she thought happened. I told her the whole situation of how I got in trouble. And I told her the whole situation of my exact thoughts as a child pertaining to that situation. I say that to say, kids remember. We might think they forget because we pretend it didn't happen, or we just realize we made a mistake and we don't address it. These things happen like over 20 years ago, and I still remember in detail. And those weren't even traumatic events. Imagine those children who deal with traumatic, life-altering things. Imagine how much they remember. So just because you may forget certain things or put it past you or push it out of your mind does not mean that your children will forget or have forgotten and aren't still affected by it. Here are some mistakes that we as adults sometimes make instead of just apologizing. We wrongfully punish our children, and then when we realize we've made a mistake, we say, oh, you did something at some point, so you deserve that, or I owed you that anyway, or something along those lines, instead of just admitting that you are wrong and making it right with them. Another mistake is acting like it never happened, or trying to make up for something with gifts, affection, extra love, extra kindness, fun activities, outings, rewards, basically. Because our children love us, they accept these things, but that does not mean it has taken the place of a true, genuine apology and has fixed in their hearts the hurt that we caused. Of course, depending on parenting style, gifts and outings and fun things can be added in addition to an apology, but they should not be taking the place of an apology. When you know you've been mean, harsh, moody, overreacted, if you feel bad or guilty or uneasy for anything you've said, anything you've done, anything you've allowed, that would be the appropriate time to apologize. We don't only have to apologize for big, grandiose mistakes. They can be smaller things as well. A true apology goes beyond just saying, I'm sorry. Let them know you were wrong. Let them know the behavior was wrong and that you shouldn't have acted that way. Depending on the age and the comprehension level of the child and even the situation, you can let them know the reason behind why you behaved that way or why you did what you did. I was mad, I was hurt, I was disappointed, I was frustrated. This is not to make an excuse for the behavior, but it is to create a teachable moment for them to see from your example that certain behaviors are not okay, even with dealing with certain feelings. This gives you an opportunity to teach the right and wrong way to deal with certain things, to help them and yourself to be able to control and manage emotions better. You don't want to just brush it off when you have gotten over the situation, because children will then mimic this behavior. So instead, you can tell them and share with them some ideas that you can do in the future. Instead of me doing that, that's not okay, I shouldn't have done that. Something better would be whatever it is that you come up with your child. Just own it. Your children will understand, they will forgive, they will respect you, and they will learn and develop from this. And while you're apologizing, try not to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Of course, we're human, and sometimes we will repeat the same mistakes, but the genuine effort should be there, and they will notice it. They would appreciate and can grow and can move forward from an apology and from some acknowledgement of the wrong. This helps them to gain trust. No, apologizing and owning mistakes doesn't necessarily undo damage, but it does aid in healing when the damage is too deep to be fixed with an apology. Of course, there are some people in our lives that will owe us apologies that we will never get. But as parents, the most important people in our children's lives, we should not be those people. It's never too late to apologize. It's never too late to fix things. It's never too late to acknowledge that you've made a mistake. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.